Yeah, I'm definitely going to get that. And so, speaking of equipment, what would you recommend a new adjuster go out and get right now before they get deployed?
Gotcha. Okay. I brought some things in, so hopefully we can see them on screen.
Yeah.
First thing is a calendar.
Oh,
This is,
calendar. Okay.
yeah, this is the hard, old school, write your things down calendar.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was used to putting everything in my phone, but I realized with booking appointments, that was not effective. I needed to be able to see my week, the whole week at one time. So when I'm scheduling, it makes sense. So I know a lot of people don't use, especially a lot of young people don't use hard copy calendar, paper calendars anymore, but I'd say that's big.
Yeah, I agree. I used to do that whenever I was running claims. Oh, okay. Chalk.
Chalk, you're gonna need it. A camera may or may not be required because a lot of the bigger firms they'll provide you with a camera. So you may or may not need that, but as an adjuster, at some point, you're going to need your own camera.
Okay.
Uh, Lots of pins. This is red because that speaks to the last assignment I was on. So if you
Yeah.
know, you know.
Yeah. I know who you work for.
Okay, this is the laser measure. This one is, I think it's pronounced Leica.
Yeah, Leica.
Leica, but there's
Okay.
lots of different brands. You can get this at Walmart, not Walmart, I'm sorry, Home Depot, Lowe's, maybe even Walmart. I'm not sure.
Okay. Leica. I like those.
Yeah. A flashlight.
Mm.
And you definitely want to get one that has a lot of those things, lumens, lumen, whatever it's called, this bright.
Yeah.
This does two things. This is not necessarily, I don't use this necessarily to see in the dark, even though sometimes in attics I have used it. But this has been very effective when doing hail inspections,
Mm-hmm.
identifying hail on dings on siding and window wraps and such like that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, a box cutter or a razor or carpet cutter or something, because a lot of times you'll need to cut out a piece of carpet to send into ITEL. A pitch gauge.
Okay. Yeah.
I carry two tape measures with me. This one is 16 feet, so it's perfect for doing a 10 by 10 square when I don't want to pull out the big one, but then I do have the big one. And then finally, I have a 100-foot one that I use for fences and such like that, but I didn't bring that in. I have one of the Aculine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the fancy, but you don't need to start with this. You can just start with a regular clipboard. So, yeah. And then the last thing is a lot of gloves. And I
Yeah.
like these ones that are coated on the palm because that roof gets extremely hot. So yeah, probably I know I've bought packs of 10 or something at Home Depot or Lowe's. I think of them as disposable, to be quite honest. And then the other thing that I didn't bring in was shoe or boot covers.
Hmm.
So when you're walking into people's homes, you can put those over your cougar paws. You don't want to make people feel uncomfortable about you walking in their homes.
Yeah, I've got a pair of those and they do work really well, especially like you said, when you got to do an interior inspection, you can just slip them on real quick. So,
Exactly.
so I've got two more questions for you. One is, what is the best piece of advice you could give somebody who wants to get into this as their next career or their first career?
This one, I got to give Matt credit for this one because this came directly from him. You want to have access to $10,000. And that
Okay.
doesn't mean in savings. It could mean on a credit card. It could mean whatever. But understand when you go out there, if and the built-in assumption is that we're talking about a field deployment. If you're doing a desk deployment, rules are different and everything like that. But on a field deployment, you want to be able to have access to $10,000 so that if you don't get paid for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, you can still sustain yourself. You can still eat. You won't be sleeping in your car. We're trying to avoid anything like that. So you would need to have access to that. And then the second thing, and to me, this is the hardest thing, is to not quit.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the first deployment, but specifically the second deployment, I thought this is not for me. I'm not going to be able to do this. Uh, I'm going to be transparent again. And For the men, I know that I'm going to lose some cool points when I say this, but there were nights that I cried in that hotel because I felt so overwhelmed. I just felt like, oh my goodness, can I do this? But if you can find a way to push yourself through and not quit, this industry can absolutely change your life. I've been able to travel with my son. I've been able to see some amazing parts of the world. I'm not going to give all information, but it has been life changing, no question.
And I'm going to lose my man card too, because I'm going to be transparent. There was a lot of times that I cried, and I remember there was a point there that I was just about ready to call it quits. And I was a staff adjuster, and I thought, you know what? No, I believe this job is a blessing, not a curse. And I'm going, if I have to cry myself to sleep every night, I'm going to do this job. And once you get that mindset, I'm not saying it gets easier, but you can do it. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
You're right. You're right.
That's one of my favorite quotes. And so it's kind of a mindset, and it's absolutely life-changing money. You've been at this for 3 years, and I'm going to ask you like a corporate America typical interview question, but where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So before I answer that, let me go back to the previous question for one more second,
Yeah.
because as you were talking, you said something that a light bulb went off in my head. I talked about it being challenging, the challenges that I faced, but the part that I didn't talk about was those stretches without work, because though that's part of the challenges too. When your buddies are going to work every day, your friends are going to work every day, and they're asking you, "Hey, are you working yet?" And my big brother's asking me, "Hey, are you working yet?" And your nephew's asking, "Hey, uncle, do you need to borrow some money? I know you're not working." That's also part of it. So again, even in those difficult times, please don't quit. Okay, so where do I see myself in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Andy, I don't have a clue, because to tell the truth, I realized, talking to seasoned adjusters, I realized that I've just scratched the surface. I have no clue how deep this rabbit hole goes, as they say. So I've done wind, hail, ice, freeze, BUSD, but they talk about what is it, where you're doing farm and ranch.
Yeah,
I,
farm and ranch. Yeah.
I don't know anything about farms or ranches. They talk about bodily injury. They talk about workers' comp, subrogation. I am so excited to see where I'm going in the next 5 years, Andy. Like I said, I don't have a clue, but I honestly believe that this is going to be the career that gets me to my retirement. So
Well, just I met you a couple of years ago, and one thing that I always thought about you and your personality is like, man, he would be a great mentor to somebody or to multiple people. So
thank you.
maybe management's in your future too. So,
Maybe so.
but
I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, I'm excited. This is exciting. So
well,
thank
good.
you.
I know you're going to be successful, and you've already been successful. That first deployment is huge, but I know you're busy doing other stuff, but I appreciate you coming on with me. Hopefully this interview has helped some folks, and I'm going to sign off like I always do. Anyway, guys and gals, I hope that video helps. I will see you in the next one.